Rachel Mazza, and welcome to part 2 of our guest expert training. So today we're talking SEO with my very good friend, Hietala. Lau is an SEO expert who doesn't often come out from behind the curtain, who doesn't often do interviews. So we are very lucky to have her with us today. Hi, Lau. Thanks for being here and chatting with me.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you specialize in helping businesses get more organic leads through their website. Can you tell me a little bit about how SEO works?
Basically, the process of making changes to your website with the goal of generating more non-paid traffic through search engines. And at the core, SEO is basically reverse engineering, figuring out what's already working and then using that information to drive more traffic to your site. So in practice, this means normally just going on Google and let's say you're trying to sell pink shoes, then Google pink shoes and see what comes up. Then go on the pages and figure out what they're doing. I definitely recommend doing this to all of the first page results on Google, but you might just need to do a few if you're, let's say, you're just like writing an article, just want to get an idea of what your competition is doing. So basically, it's just dissecting sites and figuring out how to basically take that information and apply it to your page that you're trying to rank.
So am I correct that the whole goal of SEO is to try and get your website to rank in that first page of Google or at the first couple of results that come up, right?
Exactly. That's the end goal.
Okay, gotcha. And that differs from PPC like Google AdWords or AdWords because it's organic. You can't really control it, right?
Yeah, well, that's kind of my job then, to try and control it the best I can. But yeah, basically, when it comes to paid ads, you have to pay for all of those clicks. You are on top of the organic results. But you're paying for the traffic every single time you get a click. Whereas organic basically is about ranking as high as you can on Google naturally and getting visitors to your site through those clicks.
That's really good to know because I think a lot of copywriters just kind of ignore SEO altogether and they just want to drive traffic with PPC. And a lot of copywriters might not know the benefits of organic traffic generation through SEO. So can you just tell me a little bit about how optimizing your sales page or your sales copy can help a copywriter?
Sure. So the beauty of that is that it is free. Basically, you don't have to worry about spending that ad money. Although I have to say that if you have been driving traffic or someone has been driving traffic through ads to your page, you can utilize that information in SEO. So let's say that you have ad campaigns and you notice that certain keywords are doing really, really well, like you're getting a lot of conversions out of those, then that's an easy target for you to take and set up your SEO stuff to rank for that particular keyword because you know people are searching for that keyword or are already buying your stuff. So it can be super valuable to do both, and you can use that understanding and apply to the SEO side of things. But to your actual question, so I would say it's very easy and like doesn't take a lot of time. So basically, I would say someone who doesn't do SEO normally can take an hour out of their time after they're finished writing an article, figuring out what's working in whatever keyword category that they're targeting, and then just like making those little tweaks and changes to their article based on that research, and they're probably going to rank a lot higher than they would have without taking that hour. So what you've got to lose is an hour, or if you don't do it, probably lots and lots of traffic. So I definitely recommend taking that little bit of a time and then using that to figure out what you can do to your beautiful piece of content in order for it to get more and more views.
And what are some of those specific things that a copywriter could do? Like what changes would they make on the page in order to optimize their copy for SEO?
If they have a new piece of copy, it hasn't been published yet, I would recommend putting your target keyword into your URL, put it in your page title, put it in your headings, then figure out what your competition is doing in terms of keyword density. So how many times the exact keyword is being used in those top performing pages. Obviously take into consideration how many words there are. Let's say that there's like 2,000 word article and you want to see how often keyword has been mentioned, and make sure that like you're comparing it to a similarly sized piece of content, and then just kind of figure out what even the top 3 performers are doing, and apply that knowledge to your article.
The top 3 performers on Google search results.
On Google, yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Completely depend on where you're looking to get your traffic from. So know your audience, of course. Like, don't optimize something purely for SEO if majority of your traffic comes from email marketing or ads or something like this. So obviously keep that in mind. I'm just talking from an SEO's perspective. So that's what I normally do if that's my job, but then you need to take into consideration the big picture of where your traffic comes from.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you mentioned like over optimizing and under optimizing. Just in case people don't really understand what that means, can you explain what that would mean?
So basically over optimizing is, let's say that you're selling red pens and your URL is redpen.com/redpen, and your title says buy the best red pens here, and then you have red pen written 100 more times. Probably Google's going to take a look at that and be like, yeah, that's really not how people speak or write or want to it's not content that people want to read, and you're probably going to get in trouble with your rankings. And under optimizing would be the opposite of that, like basically not using the keywords that you're trying to sell, or like how people would find your site. And if you're selling red pens, not mentioning that they're red, only having a photo of a red pen, this sort of thing. And to be fair, like under optimization seems to be a bigger problem normally than over optimization. So yeah, just making sure that you are communicating also to the search engines. And to be fair, like I think normally what suits search engines probably serves people who are looking for that information as well. Sometimes when you know what your business does and sells, you're not saying the obvious things because your mind is already far ahead of that point. And it's good to have those basics there and use the keywords that people use in order to find your product.
And so you talked about putting it in putting that keyword in the URL and the headline, just so we kind of understand like where these higher impact areas are. If you could only make one change to a page, what would be that highest impact area to focus on when optimizing your copy for SEO?
I say normally URL is the biggest one, but if the copy is already existing, it's on a page, you don't necessarily want to start messing with the URL structure, and then it would be the title, and after that your H1 tag, so your biggest heading, and put it in there. But then obviously if you have an existing page already, it might be performing well in other areas, so make sure that you're not basically stealing traffic from yourself by just being like, oh no, this is a keyword that we need to use when you're getting traffic from another keyword. So I would say be mindful of changes that you're making to existing pieces of content. Because you can lose some traffic by thinking you have a great new idea and not really considering the downsides of implementing these things.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's say that you have a new article that you want to get up on a site, then I would say URL, title, and then heading.
Okay. That's great to know. That's great to know. Because if we're rushing around or trying to get something off to a client, or you just don't know where to start, that's an awesome place to start. I also had someone ask about the differences between SEO and SEA, search engine advertising. So can you just let me know how those are different so that when people are speaking to clients, they understand the difference between those?
Right. So SEO targets search results that are not paid. So basically free clicks from search engines, whereas search engine advertising is those Google sponsored posts, kind of like where you get a little ad tag next to the result and you pay for the click that you're getting to your site. But when it comes to writing, I don't think these are like you should do anything vastly different, because converting content is converting content, right? And that's where people end up. Obviously be mindful of like what kinds of keywords the ads are targeting, and making sure that it actually works with those searches and not just spamming everything, because people are not going to be on the site very long. if they're searching for one thing and getting an answer to a completely different question.
Yeah, that's a good point, is just writing for the reader again, right? It's like, don't worry about this
Absolutely.
technical stuff so much. And yeah, because I had someone ask, if you wanted to optimize your copy for both SEO and SEA, what should you do? And you're saying it's all just focus on those keywords and then write for the reader?
No, absolutely. I would say that. To be fair, I haven't really done tests on any of these differences, but my gut says that that would be it. But maybe you can get an advertiser on your podcast and ask them about if they've noticed any differences in these. But I think if you have a high converting piece of writing, it will work no matter how your audience ends up from them if they're already searching for it.
Yeah, we were talking to Jared Morris, who you know, about Google AdWords the other week. And yeah, he was just talking about the same thing, is just make good stuff, make good content, and don't worry so much about advertising.
Absolutely. And I think people these days are very, like, they know when the content is not really meant to help them. Like, you can get, like, as someone who Googles stuff, like, I end up on sites all the time where I'm like, next. Like, it's just like clearly someone writing as many words as they can without saying anything, and no one's got time for that.
Yeah, it looks like a robot, right? Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. That's actually a really good point. So I had someone ask about writing for local businesses, and if you're writing a sales page and it's for plumbers in New York or something like that, what would you suggest for getting more rankable SEO content on a site, but that also looks good and natural, that would naturally be on a site like that for local businesses?
I would definitely benchmark a similar business in the field and see what they're doing. Again, like, I feel like all my answers are the same, where it's just like, go on Google and see what works. But that kind of is the gist of things.
Well, people overcomplicate it, right?
Exactly. So see what people are doing that works. And then also, I think sometimes you don't want to bother maybe the business owner who's hired you or something like that, but like, talk to those people who know their clientele better than anyone else. Like, maybe you can figure out a way to actually have a lot of content that's still serving the people, in terms of like, okay, what are the most common plumbing problems in New York? Like, what do people like? Is there something that they can do themselves to solve something? Or like, when is it time to call the professional? And then figure out if you can get this kind of like valuable content on the site that's going to be helpful for the person who gets there. And of course, like, pay attention to like what people see when they enter the site. That's where like you should have your contact information, like have all these things. So if someone just knows that they need a plumber right now, they can just call them right away without reading it. But then if someone's like figuring out what plumber they want to use, or like if this is something for them, maybe then just like having pieces of content that you've thought out with the business owner that will be valuable to the average customer that they get.
Well, and you mentioned a couple times that this is all about the keywords, right? And so you're writing about these topics, these keywords. And I think that's a big part that intimidates a lot of writers, is this keyword research. So I'd actually love to hear a little bit about how you approach keyword research when you're starting a new project.
Well, I use a lot of expensive tools, so I don't know if this is going to be super useful for someone who's kind of just like doing it in order to get an idea for a single article or something else. But there are a lot of free stuff. I use, for example, this, I think I don't know what it's called, like, what do you call it? Extension maybe to your browser?
For your browser extension? Yeah. Browser.
Yeah. Wow. English.
Yeah, Lauda speaks about 4 or 5 languages. I think 7 is
a couple, but like sometimes English is hard. Okay. So it's called Keywords Everywhere, and it's something that you can have on your Chrome. And every time you get on Google, when you're searching something, it shows you how many keywords a month it gets, as well as like a list of like, oh, people also search for X, Y, and Z. So that's, I think, an easy way to start. It's free. You can just like put it on your browser, and then that's kind of it. You don't have to really think about it, and it's like kind of like an easy thing to do for anyone. And then if you have a Google Ads account, then you can use their keyword planner tool. But I think you only get ranges unless you're spending money, so that might be a problem. But yeah, there's a bunch of different types of keyword tools. They all none of these are absolute, so you'll get slightly different different ranges with different tools, but you'll get a good idea. And I think most tools also have some sort of free trial, etc. So you can see if it's worth it. But I don't know. I would guess that most copywriters don't want to spend €150 a month in order to have some keyword research tool. It doesn't make sense. So using the free extensions might be a good place to start. Also, when you're searching in Google certain things, you'll get those suggestions. So you can even just use what Google's already giving to you as something that more people are searching for, and getting an idea that way.
And you're talking about that box that drops down when you start typing something in Google, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that can be helpful, but I think if you have keywords everywhere, that will give you a good place to start when it comes to keyword research.
Well, and I had someone ask that it seems like a lot of people were confused. You don't have to just have the teeny tiny keyword. Let's say you were offering a skincare cream for eczema or something, and people are saying oh, well, how do I put cure eczema in enough times? And I was explaining that you could say dry itchy skin, or how do I fix my dry itchy skin target all those keywords.
Absolutely. And the longer the keyword, normally the lower the competition is, while it's still a burning question for the person that's searching it. So probably the buy intent is high. And yeah, so you don't always have to go after the most ginormous keyword. I would always say figure out who are the people who are searching for your product in particular, or your service, or whatever it might be, and then just be the answer to them. And I think that normally has pretty good results for businesses that are smaller, or even just a high price point items where you don't need to be selling to the masses, but you just need to find your clients and figure out how they're behaving on the search engines.
Yeah, and then once you write that stuff, I had someone ask where you're sharing this content. So if you're writing blogs that you're optimizing for SEO, or advertorials, or even sales pages, besides just posting them on social media, how else can you get this out there and share your copy to help gain traction with
I think this kind of goes it's very niche by niche what would work. I don't do a lot of sharing on forums, so I can't really say how effective that would be, because I don't really have any data on that. But I'm pretty sure if something's let's say some of your high converting keywords, you see the search results page be forum posts or whatever, I think it would be a good idea to then post that there as the answer to the question. But what I also think is a good idea is just using your own content in as well as you can, in terms okay, you probably will share it to your list or your email list, and then share it on Facebook. Maybe even start retargeting people who have been on your website recently, and then giving that same piece of content to them through an ad on Facebook or whatever it might be. So then just kind of using it in a kind of well-rounded way to make sure that you're getting as much traffic out of that quality piece of content as you can.
Awesome. Wow, we talked about a lot of really high impact quick wins that you can do here.
Exactly. And now just go do it, right?
Well, and this is just scratching the surface. You're just sharing the basics, and it's just scratching the surface, right?
No, absolutely. And I don't know, maybe it would be worth it. If you are going after clients who also want organic traffic, don't really know how to do it, you can always partner up with an SEO in your area, someone you trust, and just basically include it in your quote, have someone do your keyword research and make sure that the site is looking as good as possible. If you think that SEO might not be your jam, which would be shocking, obviously, but you can find help, and probably just find someone in your area who can do it at a very affordable rate, and then just get your price point a little bit higher, because you're offering them a higher value item, basically. And
Yeah, that's a
that
really
might
good
be
point, is
as well.
partnering with traffic generators like SEOs and PPC experts. I mean, you know my history. I used to have an SEO agency and it was not my jam. And so I switched to copyright. Now I realize
Exactly. But I think we both have the same ideologies. Like, okay, like I can't do this, but like who else can? And like how can we kind of like make sure to get the right people and be able to still offer these services to our clients, even if we're not the people like doing it, right?
absolutely. I've hired you on multiple projects to just come in and consult and say like, no, don't do that. Bad.
Exactly. Whatever it might be. I'm like, and yeah, it's definitely a good strategy unless you find your inner SEO geek, which I think like everyone should at least take a look at it, because it's really not that complicated.
And
Basically, it's just a bit of time, see what's ranking, what works, and then apply that and just like make it better, basically. And normally, if you are a content writer who's like really committed to helping people out and like providing people with quality content, then you've already got a competitive advantage in that.
absolutely. And if someone wanted to ask you to help them learn SEO, are you available to help people if they wanted to jump on Skype with you and ask you some questions? Could they
Yeah,
contact you or hire you to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn with my name and my company name. So Laura Hietala and FinLab. Laura Hietala obviously is a very easy name for anyone to understand how that was
I'll write it
spelled.
down.
Yeah. Or send me an email at info@finlab.net.
Helps me learn so much about SEO, and I think even just today you've probably elevated a lot of people's understanding and about SEO and not being intimidated about approaching it. So thank you so much for sharing this. This is
No worries
really
at
helpful.
all. And if this makes anyone less scared of like basically just looking at Google search results, I definitely think it's worth it for anyone working in internet marketing and like trying to figure out how to get their stuff in front of more pairs of eyes.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Lau. Thank you so much for sharing. And if
Yes,
anyone
of
wants to get in
course.
touch with Lau or get her to help you with your SEO or even just learn more about what she does, then check her out on LinkedIn. I'll put a link in the blog post here. And you can also contact her through our website at finlab.net or email her at info@finlab.net. And that's FINNLAB.net. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.